Kunja Vihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Kunja Vihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Jayo Radha Vallabha Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe Jayo Jagannatha Jagannatha Baladeva Jayo Subhadra Baladeva Jayo Jayo Gauranitai 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 Jayo Gauranitai Prabhupada 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Premanande Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shatashri Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you for today's discussion of Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We are reading from Canto 10, the amazing Canto, Chapter 2, and we are reading from verse number 37. I'll just chant a few prayers before we begin. Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayamudhiraye Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavatiruttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naishtaki Krishnaya vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So we're reading from 10 to 37. Shrinvan grinan samsmarayamscha chintayan Namani rupani cha mangalani te Kriyasu yatva charanaravindayo Avishta chetana bhavaya kalpate Shrinvan grinan samsmarayamscha chintayan Namani rupani cha mangalani te Kriyashu yatva charanaravindayo Avishta chetana bhavaya kalpate Shrinvan grinan samsmarayamscha chintayan Namani rupani cha mangalani te Kriyasu yastva charanaravindayor Avishta chetana bhavaya kalpate Shrinvan grinansta charanarayamsta chintayan Kriyashu yatva charanaravindayor Avishta chetana bhavaya kalpate Shrinvan grinan samsmarayanscha chintayan Namani rupani cha mangalani te Kriyashu yastva charanaravindayor Avishta chetana bhavaya kalpate Shrinvan smrayamscha chintayan Namani rupani cha mangalani te Kriyashu yatva charanaravindayor Avishta chetana bhavaya kalpate. Mataji's. Shrinvan smarayan sachintayan Namani rupani cha mangalani te Kriyashu yastva charanaravindayor Shrinvan, constantly hearing about the Lord. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnoho. Ghrinan, chanting or reciting the holy name of the Lord and his activities. Samsmarayan, remembering, constantly thinking of the Lord's lotus feet and his form. Cha and Chintayan, contemplating the transcendental activities of the Lord. Namani, his transcendental names. Rupani, his transcendental forms. Cha, also Mangalani, which are all transcendental and therefore auspicious. Te, of your Lord, of your Lordship. Kriyasu, in being engaged in the devotional service. Yaha, he who, Tvat-charana aravindayoho, at your lotus feet. Avishta-chetaha, the devotee who is completely absorbed in such activities. Na, not. Bhavaya, for the material platform. Kalpate, is fit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Even while engaged in various activities, devotees whose minds are completely absorbed at your lotus feet and who constantly hear, chant, contemplate and cause others to remember your transcendental names and forms are always on the transcendental platform, and thus they can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. How Bhakti Yoga can be practiced is explained in this verse. Srila Rupa Goswami has said that anyone who has dedicated his life to the service of the Lord, iha yasya Hare dasye, by his activities, his mind and his words, karmana manasa gira, may stay in any condition of life, nikhilashvapi avasthasu, and yet is no longer actually conditioned, but is liberated. Jivan muktasa uchyate. Even though such a devotee is in a material body, he has nothing to do with his body, for he is transcendentally situated. Narayana parah sarvena kutaschana bibhyati. Because a devotee is engaged in transcendental activities, he is not afraid of being materially embodied. Bhagavatam 6:17-28. Illustrating this liberated position, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed, Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktirahaitu kitvai. All I want is your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. Shikshakshaka number 4. Even if a devotee by the supreme will of the Lord takes birth in this material world, he continues his devotional service. When King Bharata made a mistake in his next life, became a deer, his devotional service did not stop. Although some slight chastisement was given to him because of his negligence, Narada Muni says that even if one falls from the platform of devotional service, he is not lost, whereas non-devotees are lost entirely because they are not engaged in the service of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita 9:14 therefore recommends that one always engage at least in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dhridavrataha Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. The great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. One should not give up the process of devotional service, which is performed in 9 different ways. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, etc. The most important process is hearing, Shravanam, from the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, the spiritual master, the saintly Acharyas and the Vedic literature. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Vakya, Chittete, Karya, Aikya. We should not hear the commentaries and explanations of non-devotees, for this is strictly forbidden. By Srila Sanatana Goswami, who quotes from the Padma Purana, Avaishnavamukhod Putam Harikatambritam Shravanam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpochishtam Yathapayah. We should strictly follow this injunction and never try to hear from Mayavadis, impersonalists, voidists, politicians, and so-called scholars. Strictly avoiding such inauspicious association, we should simply hear from pure devotees. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore recommends Shri Guru Padashrayaha. One must seek shelter at the lotus feet of a pure devotee who can be one's guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises that a guru is one who strictly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. Yare dekhe tarakah Krishna upadesha. CC Madhyalila 7:128. A juggler, a magician, or one who speaks nonsense as an academic career is not a guru. Rather, a guru is one who presents Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's instructions as it is. Shravana is very important. One must hear from the Vaishnava sadhu, guru, and shastra. The word kriyashu, meaning by manual labor or by work, is important in this verse. One should engage in practical service to the Lord. In our Krishna consciousness movement, all our activities are concentrated upon distributing Krishna literature. This is very important. One may approach any person and induce him to read Krishna literature so that in the future he may also become a devotee. Such activities are recommended in this verse. Kriyashu yastvat charanaravindayoho. Such activities will always remind the devotees of the Lord's lotus feet. By fully concentrating on distributing books for Krishna, one is fully absorbed in Krishna. This is samadhi. Wow. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishna Vamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yontah pravishya mama vacham imam prasuktam sanjiva yatyakila shaktidhara swadhamna anyamscha hastacharana shravanatvagadin pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. Hare Krishna. So, we are reading a wonderful section of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Usually, there is a paddhati, there is a process that we glorify the mahima, the glories of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam before we study Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, generally, traditionally. So we'll just glorify Śrīmad Bhāgavatam before we begin discussing the verse today. Generally, Agni or fire is meant for the Brahmanas. yagna is done by the Brahmanas, or the Dvija, or the Dvijottamas. It is not available for everyone, in one sense. Fire, Agni, is a medium. And one worships the Lord in the form of fire. Yeah? Because the Lord can be worshipped in either earth or fire. Earth means the deity, which is made of metal, wood, etc. And fire means the Agni. Because the Lord, when He comes as Agni, He actually takes our offerings. Because the deity doesn't take, in one sense, it takes it and gives it back to us. But if you keep offering to the Lord as Agni, He will devour it. No matter how much you pour, He will accept it. So therefore, Agni is a very tangible form of interacting with the Lord. And Agni is purifying. Agni is said to be in the Sattva Guna. But, so it is a metaphysical phenomena. Many people might think, generally who are not devotees, they might think, what is the difference between a bonfire or a campfire and somebody doing yagna? Somebody is throwing something in a bonfire or a campfire on a Friday night. Or somebody is doing yagna. Om agnaye swaha agnaye idam namamah. And he pours the oblations into the fire. So what goes on in the yagna is a metaphysical phenomenon where the Lord accepts through the form and His instrument as the Devata Agni, through the instrument and medium of a material fire, and then there is a transcendental thing happening. So the Lord is not interested in the material interaction, He is interested in the spiritual transaction actually. So in the same way, for the Lord, and the Shastra says, there is another way to worship the Lord in the form of Agni, because not everyone has access to do yagna, right? Only Brahmanas can do yagnas. So the Shastra says, there is another Agni inside our body. Where is that? There are two places where Agni is. One is the Jathara Agni, which digests the food. The other one is the Vak Agni. Agni also resides in the tongue. In the tongue, there are two devatas. One is Vak Devi, Saraswati, and Agni Deva. Because Agni and Varuna, they both reside in the tongue, interestingly. Tongue is used to taste, is it not? Rasoham apsu kaunteya. Without the tongue, you cannot taste. Similarly, without the tongue, you cannot speak. So the sense of speech is actuated by the Devata Agni. But the original Agni is Krishna. Aga niyate iti Agni. One which does not move but inspires everything to move is called Agni. So actually, Krishna means Agni. Agni means Krishna. So the Shastra says, one can worship the Lord through this Agni, which is the tongue, by chanting the holy names of the Lord, by glorifying the Lord, by extolling Him in prayer. So therefore, today we are reading something called as Garbhastuti. This Garbhastuti is a prayer where the Devatas have assembled before the Lord is born, and they are extolling the Lord in glorification of the before the Lord has appeared out of the womb of Devaki. So therefore, Bhagavatam is a very transcendental literature. And it has many such exalted prayers by exalted devotees of the Lord. And in this case, it is Brahma, Rudra, Varuna, and Narada Muni and Agni Deva all are coming and assembling there to glorify the Lord inside the womb of Devaki. Therefore, Bhagavatam is a very transcendental scientific literature. Puraneshu tu sarveshu Śrīmad Bhāgavatam param yatra pratipadam Krishno giyate bahu darshibhihi. This is Padma Purana, Uttarakanda 193.3. It says, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is param. It's the ultimate. Why is it the ultimate? Because yatra pratipadam. Pratipada means one word. Pratipadam Krishno giyate means it is glorifying Krishna. Of course, Hari sarvatra giyate. Every Vedas is glorifying Hari only, but Bhagavatam is glorifying Krishna directly in Samadhi Bhasha. In fact, when Bhagavatam was going on, just when Shukadeva Goswami culminated his 7 days of Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, the Devatas appear. The Devatas appear with a golden pot. You know the same nectar they had obtained when they churned the milk ocean? They brought the pot. And they told Parikshit, you have abandoned food, water and sleep for 7 days and 7 nights. You have won the nectar which we have churned from the milk ocean. Here is a pot of nectar. But in return, you have to give us your nectar of Bhagavata Kathamrita. So we will do an exchange. By drinking this nectar, you will live eternally. So let us barter it now. To that, Parikshit Maharaj says, Kva sudha, kva katha loke, kva kacha, kva manir mahan. He says, kva sudha, which nectar are you wanting to barter it with me? Your nectar which materializes, actuates the material body? Kva sudha, kva kacha, kva manir mahan. Manir mahan, in what type of money? Money means a pearl. Generally, in olden days, they never used to use, incandescent bulbs or CFLs in that sense, fluorescent bulbs. But they used to use pearls and jewels. They used to use a single lamp, especially in palaces, and they used to have emeralds and jewels. And because the light used to reflect these jewels and pearls, it used to brighten the room. Money, that's why it's called as Mani Ratna. Parikshit Maharaj is saying, the money I have got, the pearl I have got, the sudha, the sudha means the nectar, the sudha I have got, Bhagavata Kathamritam, I don't want to, I respect your offer, but I don't want it. My dear Devatas, you can take back your nectar. So Devatas generally come to test, and generally come to glorify devotees. So here they were actually glorifying Parikshit Maharaj. Look, even if we offered the nectar by which he could live, he said, I don't want it. I'm happy with Bhagavata Kathamrita. So this is an interaction that comes in Garuda Purana, where Parikshit Maharaj said, any amount of jewelry, pearls is low class when compared to this Amulya Ratna called Bhagavata Ratna. This Amulya Mani called Mani Ratna called Bhagavata Ratna. That is why it is Amruta Dhrava Samyutam. It is the nectarian pastimes of the Lord, Amruta Dhrava Samyutam and Rasamalayam. It is filled with rasa. Muhuravo bhuvi bhavakaha, rasika. This is glorified and extolled by rasika bhaktas. Bhaktas who are very close to the Lord. Now, getting into the context of the prayer, Garbhastuti, it begins with a very interesting prayer when the Devatas come into the prison, Mathura prison. Sadevaki sarva jagan nivasa bhuta nitaram nareje bhojendra gehe gnis shikhe varudha saraswati jnana khale yatha sati. The Devatas approach Devaki Mata like this. Sa Devaki sarva jagan nivasa. They said, the jagan nivasa means the shelter. The person who is the shelter for the entire universe, Nivasa Bhuta Nitaram Nareje. Now he has taken the shelter of your womb. How wonderful is that? So we want to offer our obeisances to that personality. So they have now started. Now just before that, we will meditate a little bit on this word called Garbhastuti. Prabhupada writes in the summary of the chapter, in the beginning of this chapter, that this prayer is very famously known as Garbhastuti, or prayers by the Devatas to the womb of Devaki. Now this is very interesting, is it not? Garbha means what? Womb. Literally, Garbha means the womb. Now, these prayers are not done by mere mortals, okay? They're not worshipping the womb of Devaki and glorifying. Womb is a material thing, is it not? Womb is a material thing. So why would anyone offer prayers to the womb? In one sense. So there must be something deeper. So the Acharyas go, they go deep into understanding the prayers. And these prayers are offered by Lord Brahmaji, who is the most intelligent being in this universe, Lord Shiva, Narada Muni. They're all exalted personalities and Mahajans there. And of course, Dharmaraj will be there, Yamaraj will be there. So, therefore, this is a very significant prayer. It is said, these prayers are used even by mothers who want to conceive, who want to protect their garbha, who want to protect their pregnancy. They chant these verses traditionally. So, this is a prayer which starts from verse number 26 and goes on till verse number 41. There are 15 verses. Interestingly, in all these 15 verses, there is no mention of Garbha. Yet, this is called as Garbhastuti. It's very interesting, is it not? There is no mention of the word. The word even called Garbha is not there in any of these 15 verses, 26 to 41, but yet it is called Garbhastuti. So that is why the Acharyas say, we will just see it from a medical sense. Generally, human pregnancy is for how many months? The mothers will be knowing better. 9 months, generally 9 plus months. Now, the mother carries the child in the womb for 9 months. Generally, this is the conception. But the Acharyas say, it's not true. Because if the mother would have carried the child for 9 months, you tie a baby to the mother's womb, the baby carriers, that the pouch with which you carry the babies. You tie the pouch to the mother for a few hours. How long can the mother carry the baby? A few hours, and then she'll say, my back's aching, I've got to lift and put the baby on the cot. Is it not? And yet the mother carries the child in the womb for 9 months. How is that possible? The Acharyas say. Practically, the mother cannot carry. But when she is pregnant, she can carry. So therefore, the Acharyas say, Grinati iti garbha. Garbha has another etymology. Grinati means one who carries is called garbha. So Grinati means one who carries. Therefore, garbha means the Lord. Womb is a literal translation, but actual garbha means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's another word for the Lord. Because when a pregnant mother, when the baby enters the womb of a mother, the Lord enters the womb, the child who is within the womb, and carries both the child and the mother. Therefore, the mother is able to carry it for 9 months. Otherwise, the mother cannot have the capacity to carry the child for 9 months. Because you tie the baby to the tummy, if the mother is not pregnant, tie the baby to the tummy. How long can she carry? Maybe a few hours. After that, she can't. She'll say, I cannot carry the baby. But how come she carries it for 9 months? All the time, 24/7. That is because the Lord carries her as well as the baby. Therefore, he is called Garbha. If you come to the place where I come from, the southern part of Bharata, the sanctum sanctorum, or the altar, what we call in English from the Christian theology, we call it as Garbhagriha. Don't enter the Garbhagriha, we say. Garbhagriha means what? The altar is actually called as Garbhagriha or Garbhagudi in Kannada. Garbhagriha, actually, for the Lord, there is no womb for the Lord which can give him shelter, because he shelters everyone. Yet he is in every garbha, in every womb he goes in. So therefore he is called as Nitya Garbhavasa. He enters the womb and takes the shelter of the womb, but he is still the shelter for the womb, not that the womb is the shelter. Therefore, the Devatas have come to offer the prayers to the Jagannivasa. O Mother Devaki, the whole world he is the shelter for the whole world, and yet your womb is so auspicious that you have sheltered the Supreme Lord. Of course, he must be the shelter of your womb and you as well. And this is how they start the prayers. So therefore, this Garbhastuti is very, very auspicious. In fact, I was researching, because in the medical science world, in the field of neonatology, any doctors here? Neonatal, Prabhuji is here. Thank you, Prabhuji. Obstetrician, obstetrician is a doctor who takes care of newborns, neonatal department. We have another doctor here. Ganesh Prabhu has arrived. So, whenever the incubator, you've seen an incubator for premature babies. When babies are born a few months early, they have to put them in a device called incubator. It was very interesting to find out who was this guy. Interestingly, there's a person called Martin Arthur Cooney. Apparently, he was a quack. Doctors did not believe he even had a medical degree. But he watched poultry farms where they incubate eggs. And he thought we should design something like this for the babies or human babies. So he designed something in wood which keeps them warm for premature babies. Apparently, he became so famous that he used to try to market his incubator in the world. And especially nobody accepted it because the medical fraternity was very slow this is in the late 18th and 19th century, 1900s. The medical fraternity said, no, we don't want it. And there was, during the French-Prussian war, between the German kingdom and the French kingdom, there were a lot of famine and war, and a lot of premature deaths were happening of the babies because of famine and weaker mothers and parents. So he wanted to save these premature babies. So he devised an incubator for humans. And lo and behold, up to 1950, until he passed away, the medical fraternity did not adopt it. But then they started, by the time he passed away, every hospital had an incubator that he had designed. And lo and behold, it's an incubator is there even today for premature babies. But nobody gives the credit and due credit to the original inventor of the incubator. Who is that? Who was the original inventor? It's Krishna. Imagine the incubator that he has created, where the baby is nourished and it keeps growing at regular intervals without the intervention of the doctor and the mother. And the doctor, if he wants to see what the baby is doing, he has to put an ultrasound device to find out what's happening inside the womb. He doesn't have the eyes, and yet everything is magically arranged for the baby to grow, to sustain in a fluid, and the baby can breathe inside a fluid. That's quite amazing for me. And then as soon as the baby comes out, he can breathe oxygen, and how the lungs adapt to breathe oxygen is amazing. And the baby is breathing and eating and nourishing. Everything inside the womb is beautifully arranged by the original inventor of the incubator, Krishna. Therefore, he is Garbha. Therefore, the stuti is glorifying that Krishna who is called Garbha. Garbha stuti is just not the glorification of the womb. It is the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is inside the womb. Therefore, it is Garbha stuti. It is the glorification of the Lord. So, and therefore they start the prayer Satyam, with the very famous prayer which we have read, where they use this Satyam, 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 Param. If you go to verse number 26, it's a beautiful verse, and it's a very important verse to understand, where they establish the original position of the Supreme Personality of the Lord. What's the verse? Prabhupada writes a very big purport for this. Satyavratam satyaparam trisatyam satyasya yonim nihitam cha satye satyasya satyam mrita satya netram satyatmakam tvam sharanam prapannaha. So, today we are reading a verse 37. If you see the way Garbhastuti has progressed, initially, there's a lot of metaphysical aspects that the Devatas glorify the Lord. As you are the creator, you are beyond the three modes of material nature. You are Trisatyam, you are Satyaparam, you are Satyasya Yonim, Nihitam cha Satye. And in this verse, if you see 36 and 37, they have come to the point to glorify the devotees of the Lord. Then they say, one who knows who you are, that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then one who knows your janma, your birth, they are called devotees. And how do they know? The process to know you is bhakti. Bhakti amam abhijanati. And therefore, now in this verse, they are speaking about what is the consciousness and what is the process of how such exalted devotees conduct bhakti, so that they are always in tune with you, Krishna. That is called samadhi. Prabhupada ends the purport, this is samadhi. Prabhupada ends the purport with book distribution. So we'll discuss that a little bit. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 14th chapter, Mama yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadamyaham sambhava sarva bhutanam tato bhavati bharata. He says, it is I who impregnate the Brahman. Mama yonir mahad brahma. Brahman is the yoni, and I tasmin garbham dadamyaham. He is the original one who gives the garbha, one who impregnates. So like that, there are so many verses. In the last verse, in 26th, in the 36th verse, we also read. First of all, why do we even see these stutis? Kunti stuti, Garbha stuti, Prahlad stuti, Vritrasura stuti, because he is stuti stotarana priyaha. In the Vishnu Sahasranam, in the Mahabharata, he loves when devotees extol him, he loves to hear those stutis. And he loves to hear those kirtanams. In the last verse, in the 36, we ended the verse by saying, Deva kriyayam pratiyanti athapihi. Deva kriyaya means devotional service. So how do they do this devotional service? How do the devotees do their devotional service? Because this material world is made of what? Is made of 8 elements, is it not? Bhumi, rapo, nalo, vayur, khammano, buddhirevacha, ahankara, itiyam me, prakritir, bhinna, prakritir, ashtadha. It is 8 elements. So the devotees also have a body like us, is it not? Many a times, why this is very important, the Garbha Stuti is important, is many scholars and philosophers, when they read the Shastras, although they believed in God and Shastras, they could not comprehend that God can appear as a human. They could not comprehend. Because many of the Mayavadis, or the people who cannot comprehend a personal God, they thought the moment you put a form to God, then you are limiting God. Is it not? Because why? Their experience of form has limited experience. Because the moment you see Hanuman Das, he's limited to this perimeter. So therefore, if God has a form, but God is supposed to be omnipresent. So therefore, if he takes a form, how can he be omnipresent? This was their doubt. But they forgot one important aspect. He's also omnipotent, is it not? Omnipotence means what? He's got omnipotency, means he is sarva samartha. He can have a form, but at the same time exist everywhere. This is what the Vaishnava Acharyas said. Even some Vaishnava Acharyas came to point that, yes, he can come, but when he comes as a two-handed form God, he takes the form of humans. For example, when Krishna is fighting with Bhishma Dev, it is said in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam that when Bhishma was shooting arrows, there was blood that is coming out of Krishna. Suddenly, the scholars and the philosophers say, how can God have blood? These are the questions that they will have. It is only Sripada Madhvacharya who says, God has bones, God has a skull, God has nerves, God has muscles, God has blood. God has everything that you have. Because what can God not have what you have? Except that his nerves, his bones, his muscles, his blood, his corpuscles, they are all jnananandamaya. Everything is transcendental. The muscles is transcendental. The bones is transcendental. The skin is transcendental. Otherwise, why will they say mridupade? Why will they say Krishna's skin is very soft? How do you touch a soft skin? We only have perception of softness through flowers, through the skin we have. But this is material softness. We don't even know what it means to be transcendentally soft. You see, Krishna's body is transcendentally soft. This perception we need to understand that Krishna can come as a human, but still his body is not the body that we think. He is non-different from his body. Just like we are different from our body, Krishna is non-different from his body because he is absolute. So, this is the realization that the devotees have. That is why they say, Janma karma cha me divyam. Divyam means what? His appearance is divyam. His body also is divyam. Avajananti mam mudaha manushim tanum ashritaha. People think I come as human, but I don't take shelter of a human body. I come as it is, Krishna says. Then such devotees who have realized this, right? They have realized the Lord. How do they perceive the Lord? Because they are also having a body like us, a material body. They are interacting with material objects through their senses. How do they? If you go to chapter number 5, there's a beautiful verse Krishna speaks. 5.8, 8 to 9. Please repeat after me. Naivam kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit. This is how it starts now. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, Pralapan, Visrajan, Grinhan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi, Indriyartheshu, Vartanta iti dharayan. It's a very amazing verse. Huh? It's got that similar sounding words. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sparshan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, Pralapan, Visrajan, Grinhan, Unmishan, Nimishan napi. Means these are the interactions of the senses and the sense objects. Pashyan, the eyes are seeing. Shravan, the ears are Shrinvan, the ears are hearing. Sprishan, the skin is touching. Jigran, Jigran means smelling. Ashnan means to eat. Gachan means to go. Swapan means dreaming. Shwasan means breathing. Pralapan means talking. Visrajan means giving up. Grinan means accepting. Unmishan means opening. Nimishan means opening of the eyelids and closing of the eyelids. In spite of being engaged with their senses, with the sense objects, I'll read the translation. A person in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because all of these interactions are done, my apologies. All of these interactions are done by the Supreme Lord alone. And I am just the instrument. Because, you see, many a times, people are on deathbed in the hospitals. Prabhu would have seen. And sometimes they go into coma, right? And they're on a ventilator. And the doctors and everyone are expecting the person to wink. And once the patient winks, they're hopeful, oh, he's come back, you know. But that winking, also the devotees say, it's not of my doing. It is Krishna who helps me to wink. It is Krishna who helps me to smell. So with every interaction, they see Krishna there. This is called complete samadhi. When they talk, when they speak, when they interact, everywhere they see Krishna. Naham karta, hari karta. Everything is ordained by the Lord. I am just the instrument. I don't have the capacity to do anything actually. I can desire, but He fulfills it. So this is a beautiful verse to understand 10.2.37 that we are reading. And therefore Krishna says, Mahatmanastu pampartha daivim prakritim ashritaha. When a devotee starts seeing Krishna everywhere, then they come under the shelter of Daivi Prakriti, not the external energy of the Lord, the internal energy of the Lord. Daivim Prakritim ashritaha bhajantya ananya manasa jnatva bhutadim avyayam. Then they start, because they are under the Daivi Prakriti, they can always remember the Lord at all times. And today's verse is very important because they say, Shrinvan Grinan Samsmaranayamscha Chintayan Namani Rupani cha Mangalani te. How do they Shrinvan Grinan, Shravanam and Kirtanam, you know, Shravanam Kirtanam, that has to lead to a very important perspective. What is that? In the previous verse, we saw Daiva Kriyayam. Deva Kriyayam means what? The devotional service, bhakti. When we do bhakti using our senses, our activities, that's why Prabhupada writes in this purport, Kriyasu is very important. We have to do some physical activity. But what is the ultimate goal of doing that physical activity? For example, book distribution, decorating the deities. Mataji's now distributed the flowers or did something with the flowers. What is the whole purpose of this activity? What do the devotees get out of it? Huh? To please Krishna? Yes. And how do they please Krishna? Samsmarayamscha chintayan. By contemplating. Krishna, did it please you? Because how do they know Krishna was pleased? Samsmarayams. They smaran. Vishnu smaranam chintayan. It is Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, Dhyana. That is why Bhagavatam started Satyam Param Dhimahi. It should go into Dhyanam. It should go into the mind and the Chitta. Chitta Vesha. You see this verse, it ended. Avesha, Avishta Chittana Bhavaya Kalpate. Avishta Chetaha. Cheta is Chitta, the memory shell. It should go deeper into the mind that every interaction should remind me, did it please Krishna? Krishna, did it please you? And then it goes deep and they take Avishta. The Cheta, Avishta Cheta, one who has entered this transcendental consciousness, then they are no more in Nabhavaya Kalpate. Then they are no more in this material existence at all, because they are in tune with Krishna at all times. Krishna has come and sat in their hearts. That is why Krishna is called as, Krishna is the son of whom? Vasudeva. Vasudeva also means a pure heart. You know, a pure heart is what? That heart which is filled with transcendental knowledge. So Vasudeva's heart became filled with transcendental knowledge. That transcendental knowledge was poured into Devaki, and because Devaki accepted that Jnanamaya, that transcendental knowledge from Vasudeva, she was eligible to give birth to Vasudeva in her womb. So this is the whole idea of how the Lord appears and how devotees meditate on this appearance. And Prabhupada, and that is how the devotees understand appearance. In fact, in Kulashekar Alva's prayers, and how his names, forms, pastimes are all transcendental. Kulashekara Alvar prays actually, Srinath Narayana Vasudeva, Shri Krishna Bhakta Priya Chakrapane, Shri Padmanabha Chutakaita Bhare, Shri Rama Padmaksha Hare Murare, Ananta Vaikuntha Mukunda Krishna, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Vaktum Samartho Pinavakti Kaschit, Aho Jananam Vyasana Bhimukhyam. Kulashekar Alvar says that, O Krishna, O Narayana, O Vasudeva, O Bhaktapriya, O Chakrapane, O Padmanabha, O Achyuta, O Kaitabha, O Kaitaba Hare, O Rama, O Padmaksha, O Hare Murare, Ananta Vaikuntha Mukunda Krishna. When will that day come when everybody starts chanting your names? Your names are so beautiful. So this is because the devotees see the Lord at all time, place and circumstances, in every interaction. And therefore, we have to meditate on this perspective. And this is the way for samadhi. There is a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita 4:24. Brahmarpanam brahmahavir brahmagno brahmanahutam brahmaivatena gantavyam brahmakarma samadhina. This is such a beautiful verse. In the yagna, when the yagna is happening, brahmarpanam, you know the oblations are poured into the fire? The pujari is pouring oblations. This verse says, who is pouring the oblations? Who is pouring the oblations? Who? Brahma Arpanam. It is Krishna who is pouring the oblations. What is he pouring? Brahma Arpanam. Brahma Havish. The Havish, what you are pouring, the rice, wheat, that is also energy of the Lord. So Brahma Havish, that is also Krishna's energy. Who is consuming it? Fire is consuming it. Brahma Hutam. Brahma Agnav. Brahma Agnav means that Agni also is Brahma. Makes sense? Pujari, the Lord is sitting inside the pujari, making him to offer oblations. And the oblation, the havish, the rice, the barley, that is also Brahman. The fire is also Brahman. The smoke is also Brahman. The person who is witnessing is also Brahman. So therefore, this is the eyes of a devotee. In book distribution, somebody is giving a book to some other person. Here is Bhagavad Gita, take it. Am I giving the book? Is he taking the book? No. The Krishna sitting inside me is inspiring to someone to give him the book. Paramatma inside, right? And he takes the book. Is he taking the book? No, Krishna inside him is inspiring him to take the book. And is the book material? No, the book is also transcendental because Brahma Havish, that book is also transcendental. If somebody sees this interaction as transcendental, the giver, the material and the receiver, all being done because it's Krishna who is doing everything. This is the vision of a devotee. Therefore, no matter where he is, at what situation is, at what interaction the devotee is doing, he is seeing Sprishan, Grinan, Jigran, Krishna, he's seeing Krishna everywhere. Yomam pashyati sarvatra. So he's seeing Krishna everywhere and he's seeing Krishna inside him as well. So this is the ultimate vision of a devotee. This is the ultimate vision of an Uttama Bhakta. And this is the culmination of Uttama Bhakti. And therefore Prabhupada starts the purport saying how Bhakti Yoga can be practiced is explained in this verse. So all these interactions in the material world with senses and sense objects has to lead to Chintayam, the contemplation, the Chetaha, Chittaha. That's why the whole purpose, why somebody is singing, somebody is doing Kirtan, why? What is the main verse, Sikshashtakam verse? First verse. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam shreyaha kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadho jivanam. So, Cheto darpanamarjanam, the whole idea is to marjan of the Cheta, to cleanse the mirror of our mind, which is Chitta. How? By seeing Krishna everywhere. This is the perspective of Garbhastuti. And this is what Devatas are saying. My dear Lord, your appearance is only understood by devotees because you are the Jagannivasa, but you have come into the womb of Devaki. We still know that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although you are inside the womb of Devaki, you are still the shelter of Devaki. Although Radha Vallabha is inside this altar, he is still the shelter of the whole temple. Not that the temple is his shelter. The whole temple is under his shelter. So this is the perspective. So with this, I'll stop here. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has actually written a commentary specifically on these 15 verses. It is called as Sambandha Tattva Chandrika. He's written a specific commentary on Garbhastuti. So it is very nice to read those commentaries by the Acharyas of how they have extolled. Sridhar Swami also has written a commentary on this. So by this, we can also enter into that samadhi to understand that janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tatvatah, to understand this in transcendental knowledge, that his appearance and his disappearance and his activities are all transcendental and not mundane. They're all supramundane. This is the whole point of understanding this Garbhastuti. So with this, I'll stop here. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for a wonderful class.
Thank you.
How to completely absorb your mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. If you can summarize.
How to absorb. Kriyashu, Prabhupada says here. The word Kriyashu, by manual labor, by work, is important in this verse. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho Smaranam. If somebody is unable to do lot of physical work, then the best physical work is to do the yagna, which we have asked to do. Initially, when I discussed in the beginning, the Agni, the Nama Yagna, the Japa Yagna. This is also a manual labor in one sense, we are speaking. And Japa is what? It's an activity of the tongue. It's a physical exercise in one sense. But because his namani, rupani, mangalani te, because his names and forms are auspicious, the material activity of japa, which is being a sound produced by my tongue, also becomes purifying. And gradually it leads to nididhyasana, manana, which is contemplating, bringing the mind and focus on the name of the Lord, because the name is non-different to Krishna. This is my understanding, Prabhuji.
But here the word is completely absorbed.
Yes. Eventually we will become completely absorbed, even just by the name, chanting of the name. They say, even one does not do any other seva. Just chanting of the name itself is enough for one to completely absorb in the Lord, just by chanting the names of the Lord. This is what the Acharyas say. One anga of bhakti, Navavidha bhakti is there, right? Shravanam is enough. Hearing is enough. Kirtanam is enough. One anga is enough to liberate, to help us to absorb completely in Krishna consciousness. This is my understanding, Prabhuji. This is the understanding Krishna is giving me at this right point in time. Not my understanding. Sorry. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. I've got two questions. In the third canto, when Lord Kapila is describing the journey of the child within the womb, and how the child is being tormented within the womb, in a very uncomfortable situation, and in that kind of traumatic situation, the child begins to pray to the Lord and asking for remembrance.
Yeah.
Is it safe to assume that every child in the womb is having this revelation or prayer to the Lord, or is this only very exalted children?
Yeah. I'll just repeat the questions for the audience on the internet. In Kapila Muni's instructions in the third canto, there is a vivid description of an infant or of a fetus, of a baby growing in the womb of a mother. And it is said that the child prays to the Lord before he comes out inside the womb to help him. And he also prays that I have committed so many sins because of which I have been tormented and being put into the sack of pus, mucus, and dirty amniotic fluid is not a very pleasant place to stay. Womb is not a pleasant place to stay. Actually, if somebody I have delivered my child, I was in the hospital when my wife delivered, and I could see when the amniotic fluid was removed, it is obnoxious, trust me. So the child says, this hellish condition, I am the reason for this. My karma is the reason. So please, my dear Lord, from now on, I don't want to enter any womb. So he prays like that. Is this prayer being done by every soul, or is it just limited to a few? Prabhupada writes, and the verse also says, if one is fortunate, he remembers his past 100 births. Just like Prabhupada mentions in this verse, in the purport, King Bharata made a mistake and in his next life became a deer. Remembrance itself is not a virtue. Remembering that I am a devotee of the Lord and remembering the Lord is very auspicious. So somebody is remembering the Lord inside a womb means he is a devotee. Not everyone can remember the Lord inside the womb in such a hellish condition. And so therefore, it's only a few fortunate souls who can remember the Lord and pray like that. And therefore the Lord arranges, because neha abhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate. So Krishna says, neha abhikramana shosti. There is no loss or diminution for a devotee. So even if a devotee falls into a material form of life, he is always in tune with the Lord. So in one sense, that child inside the womb is Krishna conscious. He's Krishna conscious even inside such a hellish condition. So this is a devotee. This is the understanding Krishna is giving Prabhuji at this point in time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second question is, this term kriyasu, engaging ourselves in the manual labor of devotional service, and which will lead us to taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord,
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada, I was hearing that Srila Prabhupada, in terms of chanting, Prabhupada, would emphasize quality, but he would actually emphasize more on quantity.
Yeah.
Come to quantity first.
Yes.
Have the integrity to chant 16 rounds, and then quality will naturally, transpire after that.
Yeah.
So is that the same for our other services, like book distribution, Harinam, cooking, or other services where perhaps we don't necessarily have the meditation of the Lord, so to speak, while performing the services?
Yeah.
We're just doing it out of duty.
Yeah.
So is there any extra endeavor to increase the quality of that, or is it like when we chant that we just focus about the quantity and then eventually through the commitment of doing our service over time, the quality will naturally arise?
Yeah. Okay, just to repeat the question, just as we do many services in the temple, especially the physical seva, cooking, deity dressing, cleaning, whatever, is it okay to do a lot of seva like that, and that will eventually lead to quality or remembrance of the Lord? Is that the question?
No, so when we're performing our services, like distribution, we might not necessarily be thinking about the Lord's lotus feet.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But will that come over time? Is that
Yeah.
extra endeavor that we have to strive to have for performing our service? Or
Yeah.
perform our service regularly, and then eventually, naturally, the meditation of all of those things?
Yeah, it will, because for example, let's take the example from a scripture. Arjuna, right? Krishna was invoking Arjuna to fight in the war. Do you think he would be remembering, oh, now midyate brava pushe tadidambaraya? No. He will say, Vishmadev, like he will be angry, fighting, right? He can't have remembering the lotus feet of the Lord and then shooting the knight. No. That is Kamadev's arrows. He will be fighting with rage and anger. Is he remembering the Lord at that time? Probably not. Not all times. But Krishna's instruction was, Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Anusmaranam. Anusmaranam means, I am doing this because Krishna has asked me to do this. That is remembrance. And he might remember it while picking up the arrow, but might not remember it when he's the whole day of war. Which is fine, because the mere reason you are doing that activity is because you want to do it for Krishna. And therefore, while you're doing the activity, your focus is to do that activity correctly. That itself is Krishna conscious, because that activity is connected to Krishna. Not necessarily you're remembering the lotus feet at that point in time. Although Krishna might give us the remembrance of his lotus feet at times. Somebody rejects us taking a book. So, oh my God, Krishna, thank you. Otherwise, we may not. So, just because we have accepted the instruction and doing this instruction diligently, I am not doing this, my Lord. You are inspiring me to do this. Whatever results come, it's yours. So this, especially you brahmacharis, are selflessly doing it. So therefore, Krishna will always protect you, and therefore you come back in the evening and then contemplate what happened. And Krishna will give you the memory and the remembrance to say, okay, this is what happened, this is how I went about doing the books. So it necessarily does not mean you have to remember the lotus feet at all times, because it's not possible, because you have to focus on the task being given. But because you are focusing on the task being given and the task itself is transcendental, therefore it is non-different from the remembrance of the Lord. That's the understanding I'm getting at this point in time, Prabhuji. Thank you. Because, for example, if somebody is cooking, and then while remembering on the Lord, they put salt instead of sugar, and sugar instead of salt, I say, I was just remembering the Lord. No, focus on the cooking. So the activity and the focus on the activity is important. That's why many times they say, okay, for example, as a grihastha, when I start work, I pray to the Lord. Say, please, my dear Lord, let this day be auspicious, and let this work that I do be an offering to you. And then I focus on my work, because I have to focus on my work that I have to deliver. And then at the end of the day, I thank Krishna. So then that task itself becomes inoculated between, so then it becomes a service to the Lord rather than a material activity. Yeah.
And she's so absorbed in thinking about serving Krishna.
Correct.
She doesn't realize she's giving the banana peels.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So how does that?
Yeah. So if somebody is so tuned into Krishna that they are not residing in an external world at all, Krishna then accepts it. For example, Jadabharata. If you see Jadabharata, he had rejected his sacred thread. He was not chanting his Gayatri. Why? Many times this is a very big misconception people have. People think that by rejecting Varnashrama, I can become a pure devotee. No. A pure devotee is in such a state of consciousness, he is not even aware of his external state of existence. Therefore, he can reject Varnashrama. Make sense? It is not by rejecting Varnashrama you can become pure devotee. You have to understand that. Varnashrama is a system given by Krishna. It's Krishna's own system. Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam, Krishna says. How can you reject Krishna's own creation? You are saying Krishna is useless? Krishna doesn't have mind? He says, oh, Krishna, he thought Varnashrama is for mortals and pure bhakti. No. Purity does not come by rejecting your duty. Purity comes by your internal state of consciousness. For Vidurani, the wife of Vidura, her state of consciousness was completely tuned with Krishna. She was not even aware what she was doing externally. For such a devotee, Krishna accepts the bhava of that devotee. But someone else, Krishna, I am so much in tune with you, my Lord. I am thinking of the Lord all time, place and circumstances. Therefore, I don't need to chant 16 rounds. Okay. But are you having your breakfast, lunch and dinner, sir? Yeah, I have khichdi and puri sabji. Haha, hang on. Where did your ecstasy go when having lunch, breakfast and dinner? So that is mediocrity. That is duplicity. But someone is in that consciousness, he doesn't know. It's 4 p.m. now. When did the time pass? Raghunath Bhatta Goswami sometimes used to go into meditation. He does not know 3 days has passed. Because they are not in an external state of consciousness. And they don't go into that consciousness by, no matter what, I will not eat today. No, not like that. They don't realize it. It's natural for them. Their swabhava, their nature has become like that. For them, Krishna accepts the bhava. Because you have to see their consciousness, of where their consciousness is. So therefore, if somebody is not doing their seva properly, so do that properly. Don't get into bhava. For example, the altar dressing, sometimes on the festival day, Bhaktivedanta Prabhu keeps chasing us. No, on time. No, you can't become bhavuk and then take 4 hours time to decorate the deities. No. So we have to be pakka on your seva, stick to the timing, and keep your bhava to the side. So real devotees, and Goswami says, don't allow your bhava to impede your seva. Keep your bhava outside. Use your seva should be first. Service to the Lord should be first. So like that, because we are not on that transcendental platform yet. So therefore, we cannot imitate Vidurani. That's my understanding, Prabhuji. Little understanding. Yes, Prabhu.
Why so much importance given to the lotus feet?
Because lotus feet is the shelter for us. It is a shelter. It is the only shelter. And it's very soft. You can put your forehead on the lotus feet of the Lord and take solace from the pangs of material existence. So savadhabra karuno bhagavan vivriddha premasmitena nayanamburuham vijrimban utthaya vishva vijayaya chano vishadam jyotsna bir ahata mahad hridayandhakaram. The lotus feet, what about the lotus feet? Even the spark from the speck of the toenail of the Lord is enough to destroy the dense, dark, material darkness of all universes that exists in this existence. That is the power of the lotus feet of the Lord. So therefore we take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhu. Sorry for me to sit like this. I've got a very bad back. So.
Hare Krishna. You mentioned that when seeing, when eating, when having inspiration, doing, going, everything is actually the Supreme Lord, and we're just the instrument. So let me know if this is the proper understanding, because it seems like with a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada or an advanced devotee, that Krishna...
I think the batteries are down. You can take this.
Krishna is seeing them as an individual, separate, encouraging them, giving them credit, allowing free will. That like a child, the parent is chewing for the child, the parent is seeing for the child, the baby. The parent is carrying the baby, taking the baby everywhere. The baby is just helpless. But in bhakti is the goal to become responsible, to be able to be individual, be separate, and to see Krishna as also separate.
Okay. So it's a good question. Thank you, Prabhu. See, by seeing Krishna as the doer, as one of the doer, so the question is, as I said, that to see Krishna as the doer in every interaction, as one of the doers in every interaction, and we are the instruments, is it not also important to take some responsibility of our activities? For example, I can go and slap someone and say, Krishna, you inspired me to slap him. So that's where probably your question is coming from, yeah? Responsibility in what we do. Yeah, of course, because Krishna facilitates what you desire and what you deserve. But this is the vision of pure devotees, where they see Krishna in every interaction. A devotee, when he is hit by someone, he sees that Krishna has come inside him and he is bringing me misery. Kunti Devi prayed for misery. He said, when misery comes, I see Krishna has come. But that does not mean that the devotees do not take responsibilities. Devotees also say, let's say if they are late to their seva, devotees say, Krishna inspired me to be late. No, devotees say, it is my bad that I was late, because Krishna is always perfect. Whatever Krishna does also is perfect. Purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate. Purnasya purnamadaya purnameva vashishyate. Whatever apurna work that we do, we are responsible for it. But whatever auspicious work and whatever auspicious results comes out of this, it's just a vision of a pure devotee, that's all. But a devotee personally, he should and he will and he should endeavor to be perfect in his seva. And he sees, for all my wrongdoings, I am responsible, Krishna. But for whatever auspicious outputs and results have come, it is you who is responsible. They don't take any credits. They're very careful not to take the credits. Because the moment they take the credits for whatever auspicious results have been produced, then there is ahankara vimodhatma kartaham iti manyate. I am the karta, I am the doer. So it is him who has done it. So they pass it on to him to say, I was just the instrument. It is you, my dear Lord. So it's just a vision of them. But at the same time, yes, the jiva has some amount of, I wouldn't use the word free will, bound will. They've got some bound will by which they can do certain things in this material world, but Krishna helps them to do it or execute it. Upadrashta cha anumanta. So the Krishna is the one who inspires them, and he desires based on his karma. And he does some activities. And Krishna says, okay, you want to do this, do it. Because in that sense, Krishna was sitting in Duryodhana also and making him do all the atrocities. Yeah, because Duryodhana desired it. Okay, you want to do it? Okay, do it. But by doing that, you will go very quickly to your planet, which is the hellish planets. Okay, if you want to quicken your journey, all right, so be it. Krishna inspires him to do it. So even Duryodhana is not independent. He is also bound by Krishna's. Because then we can say Asura is independent of Krishna. No. Therefore we say he is bound by the external energy of the Krishna. But the external energy is under Krishna anyways. So in that sense, Krishna controls everything. But Daivim Ashritam, we take the potency and shelter of internal potency of Krishna, and the Asuras take the potency or the shelter of the external potency of Krishna. But we still see him as separate. We don't see we and Krishna are one. We see Krishna is orchestrating everything. Make sense, Prabhuji? The difference is the baby does not realize that the parents are caring for him. But the devotees, although are in one sense asamartha, they don't have the capacity to do things, they acknowledge that yes, I don't have the capacity and I know Krishna is helping me to do this. And Krishna is inspiring me to do this. So it's the knowledge that differentiates between babies and the devotees. They are aware of it. It's the awareness, I would say. Thank you, Prabhuji. So we'll stop here. Grantaraj, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.